You think the worst pain is being betrayed? It's not. The real agony is loving someone who has already given themselves to someone else while you stand there unaware. It's the quiet humiliation of sensing something is wrong, but convincing yourself it's nothing. Many men tell themselves her distance is just stress, routine, or the natural fading that comes with time. But distance always has a source, and when you ignore the signals, you don't protect your heart. You betray yourself. There is a kind of silence that doesn't come from words. It comes from the body. When you've been with someone long enough, you know the difference between warmth and withdrawal. You know when a kiss has weight and when it feels like obligation. You know when her body reaches for you without hesitation and when it stiffens just slightly. That slight turn of her face. That subtle pause before she touches you back. Those small moments whisper louder than arguments ever could. Tiredness fades with rest. Indifference does not. When desire shifts elsewhere, it rarely disappears completely. It relocates. The mistake many men make is chasing harder, more affection, more effort, more patience. But you cannot compete with a fire that is no longer meant for you. Instead of pushing forward, step back. Observe. If attraction is still alive, distance will shrink naturally. If it widens, you have your answer without needing a confession. Sometimes the shift shows up in ritual, a sudden need to wash away the day, a shower that feels less like refreshment and more like erasure, a new scent that appears out of nowhere, clothes changed too quickly, laundry guarded with unusual attention. Hygiene itself isn't the issue. The change is. Patterns matter. When behavior shifts without explanation, it deserves awareness. You don't need to accuse. You need to notice. Guilt rarely announces itself directly. It leaks sideways. Irritation becomes sharper. Complaints become constant. Small things turn into battles. When someone feels conflicted inside, it's easier to paint you as the problem than to face their own choices. If she convinces herself you're inattentive or flawed, it softens her internal story. Suddenly, you're defending yourself over trivial matters while the deeper issue remains untouched. The trap here is over-explaining. Arguing logic against emotion rarely works. Instead of fighting for every point, maintain composure. Calmness unsettles projection. When you refuse to step into the role of villain, the script loses power. Boundaries spoken quietly carry more weight than loud accusations. Dignity doesn't shout, it stands firm. The body, no matter how controlled, eventually tells the truth. You don't need medical expertise to sense when something feels different. Maybe her responsiveness has shifted. Maybe intimacy feels mechanical. Maybe she seems present physically but absent emotionally. You know her rhythm. When that rhythm changes abruptly, your instincts notice before your mind catches up. Ignoring intuition doesn't make you strong. It makes you afraid of what clarity might demand. Many men try to win back connection by increasing effort. But effort cannot restore authenticity when authenticity has already drifted away. Instead of overcompensating, allow yourself to register the change. Observation protects you from investing deeper into something already slipping. Ironically, guilt doesn't always show up as coldness. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in affection, sudden sweetness, extra kisses, overstated tenderness. It can feel like a revival, like she's returning to you. But ask yourself, is it consistent, or does it appear after unexplained absences? Is it natural or slightly exaggerated? Affection driven by desire feels effortless. Affection driven by guilt feels performative. Hope makes this stage dangerous. You want to believe the warmth is real, and maybe it is, but consistency reveals truth over time. Real connection doesn't appear in bursts that conveniently follow distance. It remains steady. When tenderness feels like compensation rather than passion, pay attention. Then there's emotional absence, the most painful shift of all. She may still share your bed. She may still participate in intimacy. But something is missing. Her eyes seem distant, her energy disconnected. It feels like she's elsewhere, even while beside you. Physical presence without emotional presence creates a hollow space that grows each night. Pushing harder rarely solves this. More effort often teaches the other person they don't need to reciprocate. Instead, pause, reflect. Ask yourself whether you're holding on to the memory of who she was rather than accepting who she is now. Self-respect sometimes begins with quiet acknowledgement. Time reveals priorities. When someone values connection, they make space for it. Occasional lateness is human. Repeated absence is information. Patterns matter more than excuses. Stories about work, friends, or errands may all be valid individually. But when they form a consistent barrier between you, the pattern speaks. Silence can be powerful here, not silent suffering, but silent clarity. You don't need to interrogate every detail. Simply notice frequency. Notice your gut reaction. Notice whether explanations grow thinner over time. Respect isn't demanding control, it's expecting consistency. Eventually, contradictions surface. Stories shift, details wobble, timelines don't quite align. You might catch small inconsistencies, not dramatic proof, but subtle cracks. Many men wait for undeniable evidence, a dramatic reveal. But truth often arrives in fragments, in the way her gaze avoids yours, in the hesitation before answering a simple question, in the tension behind ordinary conversations. You don't need to play detective. You don't need a courtroom case. When trust erodes, it erodes through patterns. The real decision isn't about catching someone, it's about deciding what you will tolerate. Once you stop chasing explanations, you reclaim control. Clarity becomes more important than confession. Not every sign guarantees betrayal. Distance can come from stress, exhaustion, miscommunication, or emotional burnout. That's why observation must be paired with conversation. If there's space to repair, choose repair. Honest dialogue can revive bonds that neglect has weakened. But honesty requires participation from both sides. If, however, every sign aligns and your intuition refuses to quiet down, the strongest choice may not be confrontation. It may be departure. Walking away isn't weakness. It's refusal to abandon your own dignity. The harshest betrayal isn't always what someone does behind your back. Sometimes it's what you allow yourself to ignore in plain sight. Self-respect begins with awareness. Awareness leads to boundaries. Boundaries protect your peace. In the end, the real question isn't whether she crossed a line. The question is whether you will cross your own. By staying in denial, love should never cost you your sense of self. Clarity may hurt, but confusion drains slowly and relentlessly. Choose clarity, choose honesty, choose dignity. Even if the truth burns, it burns cleaner than suspicion. And whatever decision you make, repair or release, let it be rooted in self-respect rather than fear.